Abe Green here again from San Antonio. And today is Thursday, the 12th of February, 2026. I'm going to try the closed caption, see how well they work in conjunction with AI. Um, yeah, I had some things come up here in the last week, some questions, and so we'll get right to it here. The question kind of came in. The Is there any certain or better places within the physical universe or on Earth which might increase my chances to experience God? And so what they're getting to here is where is holy ground? Where is my illumination stand the greatest chance of becoming one with God, having that experience? And so I have already touched on what had happened with me. And then there's, of course, stuff that's come here this week in reference to this. So I won't go back and talk about myself. I'm going to relay what Spirit was giving me this week. And that is where we stand anywhere in the physical universe is the holy ground, unseen to the human eyes. So these human eyes here they can't see it. We can see only what man can see with human eyes, not man eyes, but human eyes made by our untrue nature and augmented with the ego, rebellious and foreigner to that which is true. So we cannot at this time differentiate the true from the false and humanhood or human by itself. And I'm kind of breaking that up, HU hyphen maybe, or just space, and then man. Know that anywhere in this world of dreams where we may travel, we may live anywhere, the true universe, which is our Heavenly Father's creation that was created for us, is closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, as the poet said. So this thing is remarkably right here, happening right now, but I am not aware of it in human form because I can't see it. I can't realize it. The human concept is just overbearing with the human eyes. So when I had my illumination, it was my spiritual eyes that was doing all the seeing. My human eyes could still see the cans, everything that was in my cupboard there in the kitchen. And so, but with my spiritual eyes, I was able to see everything and to be there. And with Christ consciousness, to know of what it was, of all the truth that's ever been or ever will be given by the Father. So keep in mind, anywhere here is fine. Try not to get wrapped up into having to go to places, people, or things. It's a noun, right? Okay. So don't get hooked up on that. Get it? We no longer have to make the trips. We no longer have to sit at the feet of a master and let them get us here. An earthly master is only here to be, as Joel called it, a sign pointer, a guide to a certain extent. And then after that, you will find your own guide. You may experience the dark night of the soul because a living mystic's not going to be able to give you the dark night of the soul. You're going to have to go through that. But out of that, the purification will catapult you into the readiness to find the master within yourself. and to experience God. And so it's gonna happen. Now we're finding out how it happens and where it happens. And where it happens is in our own self, right here. And you could call it within the human, but it's gonna be experienced in this human experience, I guess I could say. So uh Dave knew what was kind of going on, but Dave didn't have there's no way Dave could keep up with the information that was being given. It just was not capable, and it was that very taxing on the mind of the human. And so getting back to the place, the place can be anywhere in this created fake world that we're living in, we're experiencing here. Okay, so it went Spirit went on to talk, because we had been talking in one of the meetings about the Garden of Eden, and so I've been getting some things about that. So we'll add a little to this. We'll see what else comes out. Certainly, you can also pursue it. Anything you hear from my videos, try to pursue it yourself with your own self within. And so if look at it as I'm a matchbox, and I'm showing you how to take a match out and strike it, and that's all. So I am not fire. I'm not the fire. The fire is within yourself. And so that's all I'm doing, is instructing how to get in there and get it done. So anyway, Christ is not of our world, but his world, he's of the world of Eden, our Father. And that's what came to me. Eden of our Father. Where else would one find the Father's first nature of love expressed? Out into all of his creation. When we lived with his Spirit in such a place, there we had everything provided for us, just as a growing baby that's inside the mother's womb, not being born as of yet, but growing there. So as we were growing there, also in this holy place, and we had everything we needed. We had nutrition, we had oxygen, everything that a human would need, we had spiritually. And whatever the human needs were, there's a spiritual correlation in the spirit world, as a matter of fact. So it's not a completely hopeless thing here, but at least, there is some fundamental things that can be accomplished here, of course. So being like they're a baby being formed in its mother's body, and safe, warm, hearing only the gentleness and the voices of the angels, and that baby's mother and father of creation. And just like our babies in human form can hear the parents talking, where they're already used to the parent the first week of life. And so it is with us, the same thing with our spirits, our souls. So this was an interesting thing that came to me that I had not ever seen before. Being given, for myself, I was given from the Father a free will, a totally free will, to be used as I wish. And within this was of my own. I found a way of my own. I found a place of my own. I found a family of my own. And I also found a God of my own. But in doing so, I fell from the height of the Eden. I fell in consciousness, is what had happened. I fell. And it was from the highest form of creation that God had made for myself. And I fell into a new concept of the universe, God's universe now being changed into a universe that I was replicating, a facsimile, if you will, made by man, my mind, human mind, whose breath, of course, is in my nostrils, just like now, breathing in and out. But there is no real air here. It's just I believe the concept that I have to have air to breathe. So this was my first use of free will, was this fall. And within the fall, I was able to reproduce spiritual beings, and I was able to make these things happen, and I was able to make them come to life, if you will. And so it was this physical reproduction of what I had already seen in God's kingdom, Christ's kingdom. I'd already seen it there. And so being seen there, it was easy for me to formulate my own image of man and God. And of course, it's the fake man, it's the fake God, and it's fake image. And so, so this all happened to me. So basically what I did, became the prodigal. I took my inheritance, which is all that God gave me, and I left. I bought into some kind of dream. Now, how I came into it and how it was formulated, I cannot remember. I know it was explained to me, but it's not there. I'm not permitted to tell at this time, or I'd be telling. But what I do know is I found excitement in that new form and ability that I was creating. And I got really excited, and I just really was going to town with going through the universe, making all kinds of things on my own. We'll call it creating. It was God's power that was given to me to do these things. And so I created these false concepts or false sense of being that I entertained and got excited with. And then next thing I know, I became so tired of this work. I became very tired of it, that in this creation of my own world, that I got tired, and next thing I know, I fell asleep. I found myself asleep into a deep, deep sleep, which furthered the fall from consciousness. And within the sleep, then I only had the sleep consciousness. I didn't have my original consciousness that I had prior to the fall, and that first phase of the fall. So it's kind of like I think it was Vishnu on the lily pad. I'd have to ask some of my Hindu friends about that. But whatever it is I fell asleep. And in this deep sleepness is where the dream really took form as never before. And so I lost all the truth that I had experienced and Eden, God's truth, God's place, God's time. We talked about all these things. And so now I'm having all these false concepts coming into my own being while I'm sleeping. We would call it human type of dreams that humans exhibit when they go to sleep. Usually most of us sleep at night. Sometimes we have great ones. Sometimes we have all out nightmares, kind of like life itself in the human world, right? So the main thing is I lost that truth, and up sprang from it was my fall from God consciousness. And that is where then the next phase is where my ego, my spiritual ego, I replicated that. Okay. And it took off in its own direction and became born into this dream. And with me, and it started to dream completely all the time of my own kingdom, not God's anymore, but mine. So with my own man and his universe to live in, here's where I found my dream world started. So there you got 3 phases have come into me. And so uh, got it recorded. You can run back. You can run them down if you think so. You don't have to do that. It just depends. Inquiring minds might want to know. But anyway, so my human birth came out of this event, and of course I ventured to have my own God, which is not the true God. So I took on a false image, which I was not supposed to do, and I did. And I freely created my own God, my own father. And yeah, it's kind of cool. You don't like the one you got, get rid of it and make a new one. Okay. And so both of my parents were created in here. And it was from this action of mine that grew the thought that I had a certain attainment of my own. And this attainment was as if it was in a tree and growing in the center of my dream state. Smack in the center, this tree was. And it had such knowledge being in its fruit that I dreamed this fruit was hanging on low limbs, easy limbs to grab from, and the fruit was sweet and it tasted, and I was able to actually do with it whatever I wanted to in human form. And so all of this came forth only that I would be eating of this, and that I did with my own free will. I was eating this fruit of my own free will in a state of dreaming. So much time has seemed to have passed from this fall into my world of dreams. So much time has passed. And I saw human time. I cannot say how long it's actually happening in the dream state. I may only be dreaming for what we would think in human terms as being a few seconds, maybe a few hours at the most. I don't know. But this seems like it's been a long, long dream, and it's been happening a long, long time. And that's why they keep finding artifacts of ancient humans, and they keep dating them further and further back, because anything can change in a dream. You don't like what you got, like I said, get rid of it and change it. So, so much time has passed during this dream, it seems like. And from this fall into my world of dreams came about the only thing I had of real substance was my soul. Everything else I had created, but I had not recreated a soul. The soul is the original soul, even though it has gone into part of the dream. It has experienced part of the dream. It knows that I am dreaming, and it has left, like you might seen some old time movies where people would go into caves and they would be exploring, looking for hidden jewelry and stuff in there, whatever, gold mine. And they would take rope or twine or something and tie it at the beginning of the cave. And as they were going, they would undo the rope and let it, be there so they would know how to get back out into the light once they, needed to exit the cave. Well, it's the same thing here. There is a map. There is a map to come back to the light, to the Father. The prodigal can turn around, hang on to the string and start working its way back to the Father and back to the Father's house, the kingdom. So it's all within the soul, the boundaries of being able to be found again. And so that was a very key element that I had discovered this week, that the soul was only created by the Father. that I could not reproduce a soul. I could reproduce everything I'm seeing here, but I could not reproduce the soul and the dream. And so it's the only faithful thing of God's universe that I can cling to. And we need it. And it knows the way home. It is not totally lost. And so keep that in mind. And also remember that my father's house, hang on, someone's knocking at my door. Let me pause this. Well, I'd like to tell you something interesting, why I put this on pause, but the real fact is that uh, my family wants me to make a meatloaf. All this hidden spiritual knowledge. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about meatloaf. Oh, but I tell you what, that keeps us humble. That's for sure. So where was I? I'm not sure. My father's universe, there was something about that that was coming to me. And, but, what is that? Oh, in this dream state, I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. The same thing playing over and over, the events of the world, the fake world, everything just, it's like Groundhog Day 101. It's just constantly going, constantly feeding upon itself, but never really changing. Only changes are some of the what appears to be materialistic things, but everything's still the same. The inside feeling of human is still the same as it's always been. And so I found myself with a lack of my father's love. I could not make man into a spiritual being, only into an ego being. That's all I could do is maximize the ego. And for my father's world is based on love and giving of love. My ego's world here is based on taking for me, my, and myself. So that's the way of the ego here in the dream world. And so these are some things that have come to me this week on this. I'm going to put it on pause again real briefly here and got to check something here. I'll be right back if I can. Okay, I'm back again. And so a little bit more about the soul and this fake world, the human world. So what had come to me about this and is that the soul is faster than the speed of light. And the speed of light is what I created as the fastest thing in humanhood, or human, in the human world. And so the man that God created has a soul, and the soul is faster than the speed of light. The speed of light chases after the soul is what came to me in spirit probably a couple of years ago back. And it's a reflection of the true spirit of being within God's universe. The speed of light distorts our vision of Christ's kingdom, where we really are standing. And this gets back to the beginning. Where do I need to be to reach illumination? And so these distortions happen, not realizing we are everything already. And what we as human is trying to recreate the world in the world of dreams. It just puts us in a very vicarious situation. Nevertheless, we look at our world around us And what we call man's beauty at times, but not realizing the true beauty is right there, perfect in all human's universe, where suns go nova and destroy their whole solar systems. And until they go nova, you may have comets and asteroids pounding up on various planets, doing all kinds of mass destruction there, just as has happened in the past here on Earth in the dream world. And so within God's world or universe, his universe is always being reborn from God's stuff within. Does not have to die to be reborn. It's it's in the DNA of the basic God atom. And without one particle being destroyed in this universe of gods, it continues to evolve by everlasting life. And Christ had taught us this. So this fascination with the speed of light in the human world is a fail-safe from ego. It's just a failure that came out of that. It's it's trying to catch up to God's creation, but it can't do it. And there isn't any way for it to be able to catch up, and it never will, because that is something that we created, not the Father created. And it's outside of the Father's universe. So if we had the ability to create within God's universe as a gift from our Father, to be just like our Father with the power that our Father has, then we could have certainly continued to create onward from the expansion. Was everything created at one time? I don't know, but I do know that what I saw was creation of truth being constantly revealing itself throughout God's universe. And it looked as if planetary and solar type of suns were being created and so forth, just like we have here, this universe. But each thing of creation carried with it a truth of God. So it just wasn't like a sun. It was sun with a knowledge about the creator. And it would, and so, we get, it's chasing, the speed of light is really chasing after the soul. And you get close to it, but no cigar. Our true universe and the vibrations of it travels and breaks free from time to time. It breaks free in this illusionary state or sleep state. And then we get divine glimpses of the true world that's really going on right in the same time frame. And these divine glimpses are nothing more than miniature full illuminations. That's how it will come when it comes to you, except it's not going to be a glimpse. You're going to see the whole big picture, and you're going to be up front and personal with it too. And you'll still see the body behind you. You'll be aware that there was a fake body behind, but you're so caught up into the knowledge, freeing you from the mind of the human mind. And so our physicists that we've had the last couple hundred years have been able to catch various glimpses into the great reality. And they've been able to report of strange, untold happenings and visions within these travel. Yet it was only through the vibration occurring upon these dimensions of this world of dreams, breaking down from the insanity of such ego thoughts that we have created from the beginning of this dream state, and it's just going all the way down into our tippy toes of untrue beings. But again, where we lay in hell, there is heaven right there, and that is the beautiful message coming true today. So we're more closer than ever before in this dream state of returning to our true state of consciousness. So man keeps pursuing the speed, and the only way to really get into the full illumination part is by completely standing still in the Word of God. And we know this. This has been taught to us, but we did not understand it in this term as it's being given today by Spirit. To stand still, not movable at light speed. Don't try to chase it anymore. Stand still and wait for the salvation of God. Stand so still that the butterfly you chase in the human scene will finally come and light upon your forehead, and you don't have to chase it anymore. And you will be able to watch the salvation of the Lord our God be at hand. And so this is what's been happening this week. I certainly hope that there's some things you can take, meditate on, and let your true Christ happening within yourself. You've got to do for yourself to get away from the thinking you got to go somewhere or something. Certainly don't hold me out as anything great. I'm just a person that made it there, trying to talk about concepts that are already built within yourself. So these things are there with you. You're not missing out. You just don't realize it's there. And we'll keep working at this realization of being there. As much as God will allow me to do this for you, I will. I will testify these things to be true in the name of Christ Jesus. Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much.